Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today, we're going to be discussing the electric spider Pokemon known as Denchura. So let's get started by looking at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, this Pokemon is a bug electric type, which is actually really cool typing for a variety of reasons, but two of the main reasons why this is great is because the bug typing counteracts the electric weakness to ground, and the electric typing counteracts the bug weakness to flying. So with this typing, you're only weak to fire and rock, which is really cool, and you get a bunch of resistances that come with that as well. But as for the abilities, the first one that Denchura gets is known as Compound Eyes. And if you don't know anything about Butterfree in the previous generation, it was probably the main user of this because you got an incredibly accurate sleep powder. But Compound Eyes in itself is an ability that allows your accuracy to be 30% higher than it normally is. So that allows moves like Sleep Powder with Butterfree that don't have the best accuracy to have a high accuracy and a high chance to hit. And you will see in a later set what move that will be that Denchura will be able to use easily because of the Compound Eyes ability. As for the next ability, it is known as Tension, and it really has its pros and cons to it. But basically, it's a new ability that makes it so that your opponent cannot use a berry when they are when Denchura's on the field. Sorry. But why this is great is because if your opponent wants to like sub Pataya or something like that, or Lumberry, and then they obviously cannot cure their status with the tension ability. But chances are you have no idea what item your opponent is going to be holding. So having the tension ability when you have no idea what your opponent holds is kind of a waste of an ability, at least in like standard play. But in Little Cup, where half of the Pokemon are holding like an Oranberry, tension is great because it makes it so that they can't restore their HP. So that might be a very good use for it, but probably not for standard play. And then the last ability it gets is known as Swarm, which is an ability that increases your bug type moves by 1.5 when you are at a third of your health or less, and this is its Dream World ability. But in comparison to Compound Eyes, it's really not nearly as useful, at least to me. As for the stats, it has 70 HP coupled with 60 defense and 60 special defense, which means that this Pokemon probably will not be taking lots of different attacks because of its low defenses and HP. As for its attacking stats, though, it has 77 attack, which is pretty usable, but its 97 special attack is significantly better and probably what you'll be going with when you choose the kind of or the type of attacks you're going to be using with Denchura. But either way, it learns a bunch of moves for either the physical or special variety of attacking. So you could potentially run a physical set, even though it won't end up really being as powerful as the special one. And then lastly, its speed is at a really good 108, which means that it's tied with Infernape if you want that kind of frame of reference. So it means that you will be very fast and be able to do a lot of damage with your pretty good attack stats. So with that, let's take a look at the first set for this video. So for this first set, we're going to give Denchura a Naive Nature to increase its speed, but decrease its special defense. And now normally I would not want to use a nature that does decrease any of your defenses, especially on this Pokemon since it's pretty frail. But since we are still going to be using the physical attack stat a little bit, I didn't want to use a nature like Timid that would lower that, so we're going to go with Naive. As for the ability, we're going to be using Compound Eyes to obviously have incredibly accurate moves. The EV spread will put 4 into attack, 252 into special attack, and 252 into speed to give you one more attack point, your highest attack that you can have with the Naive Nature, and then max speed. As for the item, we're going to be using a Life Orb, which I guess is probably the best item for this set, but I think that there probably is a better one still there, because I mean it just boosts the power of your moves, and since all of your moves are attacking, you might as well use a life orb. But as for the moves, the first one is Thunder, and that's the whole catch with this Pokemon because it gets Compound Eyes, which will increase the accuracy of Thunder to be 91, meaning that it has a really good chance of hitting, and obviously it's the most powerful electric move and has a 30% chance to paralyze, so it's amazing that this Pokemon can easily make use of it because of Compound Eyes. As for the next move, we're going to be using Bug Buzz just because it's another powerful stab move and can probably hit a lot of different types as well. And then we're going to be using Hidden Power Ice to have the famous electric ice type coverage that was pretty popular because essentially there aren't a lot of different Pokemon that resist this kind of coverage. And then lastly, we're going to be using Sucker Punch because it is a priority move that will allow this Pokemon to put in a little bit more damage right before it goes out if you obviously predict an attack from your opponent. And it's also great if you predict your opponent to use priority on you as well, because of the fact that this Pokemon is quite fast and it'll probably outspeed a lot of other things that want to use like a Mach Punch or something like that with its own Sucker Punch. As for this last set, it's pretty similar to the first one, but is meant to do something a little bit different. So first we're going to give it a timid nature instead of a naive nature to increase your speed and decrease your physical attack. And again, we are going to be using the ability Compound Eyes with the same EV spread, minus the 4 attack EVs, which are now going into your HP. The item this time around is going to be Leftovers over Life Orb because you are going to be utilizing Sub in your moveset, so it's always good to get Recovery while you are behind a Sub to hopefully make that Sub be worth its full usage. But along with Substitute with this moveset, we're going to be using Disable so that you can pretty much cancel out whatever attack your opponent used to break your Sub in the first place. And hopefully the idea behind that is that it won't either have another attacking move that could hurt this Pokemon, or its other attack moves would be not very effective against this Pokemon. So that's a pretty cool ability, and it will also allow other Pokemon to switch in safely since you know they can't use an attack that might normally threaten them. And then lastly, for the 2 attacking moves of the set, Bug Buzz and Thunder, again like in the previous set, because they're both really good stab moves and can hit a lot of different things. But that is pretty much it for Denchura. I know this video is a little bit shorter than the others, but the 2 sets that I have are pretty similar, so there wasn't too much to talk about, or their differences at least. But this thing is really cool looking, and I really like the typing of this Pokemon, so I want to hear what you guys think. So let me know in the comments, and I guess I will see you later in my next video. So take care, and goodbye.